This is a whole food plant-based experience that has the intention of educating you about the health benefits of eating certain plants, inspiring you to try new dishes, and
giving history lessons and having fun
in the kitchen, all four today.
Yeah.
It's a bonus. My name is Joshua, this is my wonderful wife and co-host Catherine. Catherine, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Joshua. Sweet as always. So today's recipe is a certified banger.
It is certified.
And it is a delicious sweet treat. We are calling this recipe Actually Kind bars. What they are essentially is a healthy snack bar. And it's gonna be a sweet snack bar. It's gonna be that thing where you want a little something sweet, maybe after a savory lunch, or something sweet for breakfast. This will satisfy your craving and be really nutritious.
It will, and as always, this sweet treat episode is building on a common theme that we have on the show, where we show you how to make sweet, delicious treats that aren't super unhealthy. They actually have health benefits. And this one specifically we're doing because there's a trend that we're going to talk about that I find very irritating, so does Catherine. And that trend is, when you go to the store, you want to get like a sweet treat, and you look at the shelves, and there's the ones that are obviously unhealthy, and I think just generally people are educated enough to understand, oh, this is not good for me. But I want a sweet treat, so I'm going to go for the healthy option, and now there's so many brands that are producing healthy alternatives, but if you actually look at what's in them, they're not really that good for you. We're going to get into why that is, and then show you the alternative to actually make a healthy version. So we're going to get pretty fired up about that, aren't we? But
yeah.
Let's get into it, Catherine. Let's get this show on the road.
This is seriously going to be so simple of a recipe.
Yeah.
You guys are going to love it, and it's going to be so much, and it will last you a long time in bulk, whether you're making them just for yourself or sharing the snacks with your family.
Perfect. So first up, we're going to... Ooh, that was like...
Sound
Everybody
ball.
pay attention. First ingredient, Catherine, is...
We're going to do the dry ingredients, which we have laid out here before you.
Before your very eyes.
Beautifully presented by Joshua. Okay, so we have the first ingredient is going to be whole almonds. And these almonds, I went ahead and dry roasted them in the oven at 350 for 10 to 15 minutes. And you'll see that on the recipe that I did do that. And this gives the almonds, it brings out the nutty flavor in almonds. I think it makes them taste better, in my opinion.
Definitely.
There's nothing wrong with eating them raw in this recipe from the store as a whole almond, but why do we keep doing that?
Just put this over here.
But I think they just taste better slightly roasted.
Put that down.
And you can buy...
That's already a cup, I've measured it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And you can buy dry roasted nuts, even though they're hard to find just dry roasted. Usually when you get roasted, they have oil in them, roasted with oil, and we don't like that when it's so easy to dry roast them at home in the oven.
Yeah.
So a cup of those, we're not doing any grating of those, we're just keeping them whole. Is that a cup as well?
Yep.
We're doing a cup of dry roasted peanuts. So once again, these don't have any extra added oil in them. It's just peanuts, and we're not chopping them, just keeping them whole. Then we have a cup of walnuts. Now we did chop these because you can get chopped walnuts from the store, but ours weren't. So we want them to be about the same size as the almonds and peanuts. So we chopped a cup of walnuts. We're gonna put that in there. And all of these nuts are protein sources, and all have different nutrient components to them. I found out that peanuts are actually absurdly high in protein. So this triple nuts will give you different flavors of nuts, different textures of nuts, and a lot of protein, a lot of satiation.
Triple nuts, I like that. And then the final dry ingredient, what's this?
So in a lot of snack bars, they put something called puffed rice cereal in it. And so I couldn't find puffed rice cereal at my local store. So I just bought these rice cakes that they sell, these rice cake snacks that are nice, where you can just cover them with peanut butter and and it's just rice that's puffed. There's no other ingredients in it, I'm pretty sure. And so we just chopped that up into bite-sized pieces. So now we're gonna put our puffed rice in there, and that's just gonna be a different, softer, sweet texture in it, which they obviously are putting them in bars because people enjoy them. And
Oh yeah, it's almost like marshmallow, I think.
Yeah, and it smells kind of like buttered popcorn to me as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a popcorn scent to it. So, did you?
Yep.
Oh, I just need to get a spoon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I thought that's what you were doing.
No, I was just checking in on the chocolate that we're melting. So we're just going to mix that around, super simple, dry ingredients. That bowl's really like, what's the word for sounds nice? Audible. Is that right?
Audible is just making sound.
Or it's an audible bowl. That should be one of its highlights.
Do you like it better than the metal sound bowl? Do you like the glass? It is quite clanky, isn't
I
it?
think it's like, are you doing that on purpose?
No!
Really?
You try to mix it and not make a sound.
Too easy, too easy.
You're not even mixing it at all doing that.
Oh yeah, it is impossible.
Alright,
without
whatever.
the
Okay, so we're going to... Oh, we forgot about the flaxseed as well.
sound. Oh, I'll get flaxseed.
Sorry about that. We didn't... You think that we don't forget things, and then all of a sudden,
You forget things?
you forget things.
Oh.
That's just how it works.
And we put flaxseed in for those essential fatty acids, omegas.
And it's just a nice binding agent.
Yep,
So we're getting 2 tablespoons of that in there.
beautiful.
We're gonna talk about how we're gonna bind these bars together in this next segment,
Yep.
but we'll just mix that in.
Okay, so that's the dry ingredients, super easy, and you can obviously adjust this to whatever you want to put in your bars. Raisins you could put in here, any dried
Yeah.
fruit would work, any variation of nuts, realistically anything that you want can go in there, nuts wise. And so they're the dry ingredients, and now we're going to move on to the wet ingredients, and we're going to start off with this. Catherine, what's this wonderful liquid?
Before we talk about the details of the wet ingredients, I want to preface that what we're going to do for them is, you know, when you caramelize a sugar, it gets harder and sticky. So that's what we're going to be doing with these wet ingredients. And the first wet ingredient we're going to be using is Grandma's Gold Standard Molasses, which is a I wonder, it doesn't say which one, if it's from sugarcane or not, but molasses is something that has come into my life within the past few years. I didn't use molasses before, and since I learned about the health benefits of molasses, I've been using it more readily.
Which are?
Molasses has an absurd nutritional profile.
Yeah.
It's rich in magnesium, it's rich in iron, calcium, and it's got a high amount of antioxidants in it, as well as fiber. So they say that magnesium is, because if it's high in calcium, it's good for your bones. They say it's good for heart health. It's good for women with their menstrual cycles because of the high amount of iron. So like, even though it is really healthy, you still, like any other sugar, want to eat it in some sort of moderation. Oh, he's on the high pour again.
It's cool, isn't it? It's so viscous.
We're gonna turn that down now.
Okay, turn that down.
Because we want to keep this at a medium-low heat, and as you can see, it's already bubbling. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that machine is very efficient.
And something else I've learned recently is that you can use molasses in your garden because it's so nutrient dense. People, you know, like when they get their fertilizer sprayers from the hardware store, they put molasses in their fertilizer sprayer, and it helps with soil health. It helps give nutrients to the plants. It helps as well keep insects away.
Yeah, it's super useful. And it's made from basically reducing the sugar from sugar beets, sugar cane, and the other one is?
Well, it's called sorghum.
Sorghum, yeah, which is a root, I'm pretty sure. So they just reduce it and then extract it, pretty similar to how they do maple syrup. Not the exact same, but very similar.
Where you're basically just boiling down the liquid of the sugar cane, and the water evaporates, and what you're left with is this molasses.
Yeah. And I'm just going to add in honey, and then we're going to talk about why we're using these sugar sources compared to what is typically in the quote-unquote healthy bars. So we're going to do 4 tablespoons of honey. Catherine, talk to us about honey. Oh, wrong one.
So we've been using honey for 8,000 years.
Well, we have, me and you.
Yeah, humans have been using honey for 8,000. I took the lid off because it's easier.
Yeah, it's sticky. I'll just do it.
There were cave drawings in the Neolithic period of people to note that they were doing beekeeping, to write about their beekeeping, and cave paintings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. And honey is very nutrient dense as well, but for different reasons. And although its nutrient profile is not as strong as the molasses, it is an antioxidant like the molasses. And honey is unique in that it's antibacterial and antimicrobial. So people use honey to dress wounds because the way that when you have a wound and you put honey over it, it creates like a moisture membrane that promotes tissue repair, which is just really a beautiful aspect of honey. So, you know, if you're on a camping trip and obviously you have your first aid kit, but if you got honey around, you know, and you need to fix it real fast.
And as Kate's just wonderfully explained, there are health benefits to both of these sugar sources. They obviously taste great too. But if we compare that to what is in the healthy bars, what type of sugar do they typically use in those bars, Catherine?
They'll use high fructose corn syrup.
Or now they've rebranded it to
something called glucose syrup.
Which is?
It's the same exact thing, but they've just called it something else.
Well, which is? What actually is that?
Glucose syrup?
It's just basically pure sugar, but the way it's a condensed version of sugar, but the way that they get to that, unlike molasses, they use a solvent reduction. So they basically use acetane, which you can use to take nail varnish off.
Paint
thinner to reduce sugar, and typically you don't even know where that sugar's from. It could be from corn, it could be from any of the GMO crops, and they just use this very industrial process to get glucose syrup, which then goes into these healthy bars. And
the sugar content is so high in it that the World Health Organization was like, you should refrain from eating glucose syrup because it's bad for your kidneys, it's bad for your heart, it can cause weight gain. And this glucose syrup has no nutritional value whatsoever in it. And the companies are using it because I'm assuming it's cheap.
It's very cheap
to put in their bars.
Yeah,
and because it's got such a high sugar content, when you're eating the bars, you're just on this like sugar high, and you just don't even think about it. So it's really concerning, the fact that they're putting something so unhealthy and then advertising it as a healthy bar. It's something that really gets us passionate about sharing recipes like this.
An easier solution.
Yeah, an easier and healthier solution. Oh, I put it back in the fridge.
Oh, I see. She's setting us up. So that's honey and molasses.
So we're gonna add just a teaspoon of vanilla extract,
which
as
we've
well.
used many times. Oh, look at that, how it splits on top. I don't know if the camera picks that up, but that's pretty cool.
And just a little bit of sea salt.
And then all I'm doing with this is I just want to start what do you say again? Caramelization.
The caramelization.
The caramelization, dude.
Caramelize? What would you say?
Caramelization with an A. Caramelize.
Caramelizing.
But not all the way through, because obviously that'll turn it into a crystal. So you might not be able to see that, but I'm just looking for the bottom of the pan to hold a little bit of stickiness when I move it, so it's not far off.
Do you want me to turn it up a little bit?
Yeah, let's go up to...
Ooh, that was a lot.
Oh, that goes up. That's weird how it goes.
It really jumps.
70 degree, but it's close. And this is just to help mix it. If you didn't do this, I think when we spread it in there, the flavors wouldn't be as cohesive.
It wouldn't harden.
It wouldn't harden.
So
properly.
like these are, as you can see, like in the bottles, they're viscous. Their viscosity is quite high, so they move readily. But after you caramelize it, it will just become like a sticky, hard candy, you know. And so that's why we're reducing it and cooking it down, because it will help all of our dry mixture bind together.
Yep. Oh, you see it's bubbling?
Yep.
Look at that. Beautiful.
That's a really pretty one.
Whoa. Look at that.
I know, it's
That's
really
the show in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
It
is very pretty, isn't it? And I think that's where... And so in the recipe it says that you want to cook it until, like Joshua said, you are moving it and you don't see the bottom of the pan. It's quite hard to tell when it's thickening.
Yeah, it's close.
And when the honey is starting to caramelize, because the smell of the molasses is so strong.
Very strong. Can you smell it back there, the molasses? Yeah. It's a unique smell. There's not many things that smell like molasses. Oh, tell us about the Great Molasses Flood.
Yeah, so molasses used to be actually the most popular sugar sugar
Source.
used in ancient history, and the only time that it changed was after World War I. Molasses was kind of dwindled in use because white sugar became so cheap after World War I for some reason. But before that, molasses was one of the top sugars that everyone was using across the world. And so with that, we read today that when the Americas came over, when English colonists came over to America and they started living here, the English government put a high tariff on molasses for the American colonies, and that was part of the reason that caused the tensions to rise for the American Revolution.
Yep.
So they always talk about the tea, but they don't talk about the molasses. But I just wanted to give a little bit more preface of how much molasses used to be used, to the point where in Boston they had factories of molasses, and there was a molasses tub that burst, and molasses was flowing out of the factory at 35 miles per hour, and it killed 21 people, 150 injured. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, the pictures are crazy. And imagine, like, when you see this, the pan afterwards, how sticky it is. Imagine what that would have been like.
It would have had to been a mess.
You know, like a foot of molasses across the thing.
So we're not holding that against molasses, but
we're taking molasses to court. Right. So all we're going to do now, I'll just move this so Kevin can see as well.
Okay.
Super easy. We're just going to put this and mix it, stir it through the dry mixture.
Okay. I'll do the spatula.
You do the spatula. So I'm not sure if you can see that back there, but it's a really sticky mixture. Honey is obviously sticky, but molasses is like...
Stir, stir, stir.
And then we're just going to move this around. Oh yeah, that's perfect, that. Just give it a nice even coat on all of it. Oh yes, 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 yes.
From here it looks like popcorn, it looks like they're making caramel.
It does.
It does, yeah. Well, that's
it would be
how
the
you
same
would make
thing.
it, yeah.
I mean, if you had regular just plain popcorn and you put this mixture over it, that's how you'd make a caramel corn as well.
Yeah, and then you get I mean, if you have time, I'd really recommend reading into the nutritional profile of molasses, because for a sugar, it's pretty
fascinating.
It's fascinating and pretty impressive how you can get such a broad nutrient profile, and there's so many nutrients in it that are difficult to get in other parts of your diet that it's like, wow, pretty cool that it tastes so good, it can be used in so many different recipes. Look at that.
Oof. It looks great.
He does such a good job. Now I'd have half of that outside the bowl on the table before.
Practice, Robert, practice.
You see how it's making less sound now.
Well, that's because professionals.
Oh, it's because the sticky sugar.
It is the sticky sugar. It's deadened the sound. Right, I'll move these.
Yeah. So we did this a bit backwards actually, because my first step in the recipe was to talk about the parchment paper, which I'll be talking about now. So you cut the parchment paper into strips like this, so that you have handles on either side. Because this mixture is so sticky, we don't want it to stick to the pan, because we want to be able to get it out at the end.
I didn't realise you did that. That's very smart.
Hey, well, I won't take all the credit for it. I did learn on the web. So, and then as well, it was suggested that people use spray oil, but I don't really like to use spray oil.
You don't trust the spray oil,
because
do you?
unless it's a coconut, I don't know. I just don't trust it. So I'm just gonna take coconut oil and I'm gonna put it on the back of my spoon like that, and I'm just gonna press it down into over my parchment paper. And I'll show you what this looks like after I'm done with it. But it's, when you have soft coconut oil, it spreads really easily.
Yeah.
Like this is just, it takes like a little bit more time than just spraying the pan, but it really doesn't take that much time.
So for a minute.
And that will also hopefully prevent it from sticking too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then all I'm going to do is just...
Wait, I want to show real fast. That's what it looks like once you've spread it around.
Yeah. I can see it on the mirror, I think.
I'm showing
Oh, okay. So now I'm just going to bang that in there. I'll put it all in, and then Kate will spread it to the edges with the refined touch that she has. Oh, there seems to be more. It does, yeah. It does look like that.
Like a little like very crispy treats as well.
I mean, it smells so good. I love the smell of molasses. Can you get that in an aftershave, molasses? just walking around.
We'll get you a perfume of molasses.
I'd wear it. Maybe
Molasses
I'd get sick of it.
essential oil.
Look at that. So
You'd be
you're
very
gonna...
sticky. So it's already sticking together quite well.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna press it down. Be very firm. Because that will help when we take it out to cut it into bars.
Yeah.
So that hardens up real quick. Then.
Real fast, yeah. If you get it on anything, you'll be like...
It washes off.
It washes off, but you gotta give it a right scrub, really. So you're just pressing that down there, that looks really good.
Do you want to taste it for us?
No, go on then, if I have to. Let me see
He
here.
likes a spoon.
Yeah, here we go. Oh yeah,
You like that?
tastes as good as it smells. It's very strong flavouring, but in a good way.
What we're going to add on top of it is going to
Wow,
change the flavor profile.
the peanuts really come through at the end. You get like the 3 different tastes of nuts. And the toasted almond is the front flavour, really good.
So aren't you glad I toasted the almonds?
I think you'd have to, otherwise it wouldn't taste right.
Yeah. Okay, so the last step to make this just a super ultra delicious treat. I love putting chocolate on my
You put
snack
chocolate on
bars.
everything nowadays.
I think it's just the best way to also help bind the ingredients together. And I just like when you get healthy snack bars, a lot of them do have that bottom chocolate layer on them. So today we're using a new cocoa brand that I found at the store. It's organic and it's just 100% cocoa. Cacao, unsweetened. And why this is such a huge deal to find this at the store for only
$2.49.
for 4 ounces.
4 ounces,
That
which
is
is mega.
That is a great price. And the reason I love this one so much, it doesn't have soy lecithin in it, and it doesn't have any sugar in it. So when you go to the store now and you look for baking chocolates, almost every single one of them has soy lecithin in it.
Including the healthy bars.
Yeah.
That's what they have in them. So what's wrong with that? What is soy lecithin?
So if you Google soy lecithin, people will say, oh, it's no problem, it's fine, it's actually got these health benefits and this health benefit. However, there is a problem with it because as it is with the sugar, it is chemically taken away from soybeans.
It's a byproduct.
It's a byproduct of it that's chemically reducing from chemical reduction. And what it does as well is that it has a very high estrogenic property to it.
Which can cause a hormonal imbalance. And if you have a hormonal imbalance, there's the cascade. That's arguably one of the biggest causes of so many issues that people face is a hormonal imbalance. And the food, that phytoestrogenic food like that is a problem. So why this irritates me so much is because you feel like you're making a positive, healthy choice. I'm going to go for the healthy snack bar. And then a lot of people do because I made a healthy choice, well, I'm okay to make a relatively unhealthy choice, kind of balance it out. I understand that's super normal. But if that healthy choice is actually not good for you, and then you take that relatively one, it's like a compound effect, so it sends you further away from health, and it just is frustrating that those small things have to be added. But if you do it yourself and choose your own version, you can know for sure what goes in it.
Yeah.
So we've got a good chocolate here. We've just melted it down with the double broil. Super easy, it's melted. And all we're going to do now is just tilt this and just do our best to spread it evenly.
Do you want to try to get it around the corners more.
I think we should develop some sort. Oh, we could. They do probably already have it, like a Coke gun, but for chocolate.
Yeah. Well, it would just be like one of them frosting pipette things.
Yeah, that's what I thought immediately. They've probably already solved it.
This is already pretty sticky. So
Do you want me to get the spatula?
Maybe we'll just try to use the back of the stove.
Well, there's still loads in that.
I know, but I want to save some for drizzling.
Oh yeah. So
we'll just
do
spread this
that
out a
as is.
bit. So we're not making the thickest layer of chocolate, but if you want a thicker layer of chocolate, you can obviously melt more. This was 2 bars.
Yeah. And this is going to serve a lot of people. This is it. And if you're making this for yourself, you make it once. If you're not talking about the Boston molasses flood, you could probably get this done in 10 minutes, and then you've got healthy snack bars for the entire week, really, unless you're eating like me.
Unless we live with Joshua.
And this kid puts them away. So what we're going to do with that, once that's spread over, we're just going to put that in the freezer
To cool.
to cool. Really, the longer you leave it in there, the easier it's going to be. But realistically, 20 minutes-ish.
And when you're storing these bars, you probably want to just keep them in the fridge anyways, or the freezer. And we didn't even talk about the palm kernel oil as well.
This is one that we made earlier that has been in the freezer.
It doesn't look like it's hardened completely.
But-
Ooh, look, a piece of chocolate.
Freebie. So,
Yeah, you got chocolate on the edge, so it's kind of just stuck to it.
so this, do you want to just wait for it to harden a bit more, or do you want to just go for it? I think we just go for it. Just go for it.
It is kind of falling apart because the chocolate didn't harden.
I think we can make it work.
Okay. Well, why don't you just cut out that corner, because that corner looks pretty hardened.
Okay, so I don't need this.
No, let's just cut out one.
Alright.
We thought we gave it enough time to cool, but I think what's happening here is because that caramel mixture was so hot and the chocolate was so hot, it's taking it longer to cool than we expected.
Yeah. And obviously if you are doing this at home, you can just let it cool completely and it'll make your life a lot easier. But
Yeah, because we let it sit for probably like 15 minutes, so you want to at least let it sit for 30 minutes. I'm thinking that corner.
that's what I'm doing, I'm trying to get
Oh.
to it. Scoop that out. I mean, it's getting there, it's definitely hard on the...
Well, you're picking up the goopy part as well, though. You're just supposed to pick up that.
Yeah, why don't you do it then?
Well, it's kind of all coming apart
no,
now.
no, no.
We didn't let it sit long enough.
Right, well, we'll have to bang that back in there. Then again, maybe not. When we... Go on, you can get a bit. Oh, go on. Yeah, that'll do.
See, look, that chunk stuck together. It's not the most fabulous chunk in the world, but geez Louise.
It's going to taste good, I'll tell you that.
If anything, it could be kind of like a bark recipe.
And if you have molds, you can do it in molds as well.
Man, how did that fall apart so much?
Well, it just didn't say. Do you want me to... I'll just put it back in the freezer, it's alright.
Okay.
And then I'll just, when it's done, I'll just take some pictures of it.
Okay, that'd be great. We'll take pictures of it at the end.
I'll just swap this back.
But as you can see from this part stayed together quite a bit.
Well, give us a taste test, Catherine.
Okay, it's so chocolatey.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised the chocolate really penetrated all the way down as well, though.
It did, didn't it?
I thought the chocolate was going to stay on the top more.
I mean, that looks so good.
This chunk stayed together quite well.
Go on. Ooh, good. I can imagine the chocolate mixes well with that molasses. And you can see here, obviously, you'll see on the pictures too of it when it's fully set. But it looks just like the quote-unquote healthy bars that you get, but you can know for certain that this doesn't contain any nonsense.
I love how you get the, like you said, the different tastes.
Yeah,
you can
the
taste the toasted almond and the dry roasted peanut. You get the molasses isn't overwhelming.
It's not.
Once you get the chocolate on there, the chocolate evens out the
the
sweetness and taste. And then you get some of that light, airy rice cake.
The marshmallow rice.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
So, if you're patient, you can get a hard bar that you can cut out.
Which you'll see right now.
This is definitely way healthier, and like I said, we didn't even get to talk about palm kernel oil that's also in these these healthy bars, and that oil is also a plant oil that is
A problem.
a byproduct that is not healthy for you and your heart.
And often, if it's a byproduct, it's made for one reason only. And that is for more money, more profit. So instead of that, you can protect your health, invest in yourself, make these at home, and have these on hand. And when you eat them, you are going to feel good. You're going to have energy. You're going to be like, ooh. And you don't have to feel bad about eating it.
I agree.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for watching. This recipe is available on our website as always. We appreciate you all being here watching this, the support. Thank you, Catherine. This has been a good one. I'm excited to go and eat these, and we'll see you next time. Much love. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of our show sponsors and supporters who make this show possible. The Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte, Grace Learning Centre, Citizens Concern for the Homeless, and ALCO, Access LaPorte County. We appreciate all of your support.